So you're thinking about joining the military soon, and maybe you've started talking to a recruiter. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you're like me and you're in the military now, and you regret some decisions. So today we're going to be talking about some of the biggest lies to watch out for whenever talking to recruiters, because they are some very sneaky people, and the guy editing this video knows that, and I know that. So yeah, hopefully I can save you some years on your life by telling you some things to watch out for, or maybe you can even make some extra money by watching this video because you got a bonus that maybe you wouldn't have got. So just a little background on me for some of you who have never watched my videos is I've been in the military for 4 years. I am in a seagoing service that is in the Department of Homeland Security. I'm not technically supposed to say what branch, but you can all probably guess now. And so, yeah, I feel like I have a little bit of experience now looking back on my recruiting time to be able to tell all of you what to look out for, which kicks me off my first thing, and honestly, one of the biggest mistakes in my life so far, and that is getting lied to about how long you need to sign a contract for. This is number one. So let me give you a little backstory. Whenever I first joined the military at 18 years old, right out of high school, I had this mindset. I was like, you know, I'm going to do 20 years in the military. And yeah, my entire childhood, I knew I was going to join the military. And so that's kind of where my head was. And if you're 18 or you're in that same headspace right now, then let me tell you something. You don't know how the next few years of your life is going to go. So sign the bare minimum contract that you can, because the maximum one that I was able to sign was a 6-year contract, and I regret it majorly, okay? I got in. It's been a good time. Obviously, I have this page. I talk good things about the military, but active duty just wasn't for me, and it's not for a lot of people. And so I am over 4 years in now, and if I would have just signed a 4-year contract versus a 6-year contract, I would be out by now. And so I know way too many people. The guy editing this video, actually, he also signed a 6-year contract. So do not do that whenever joining the military. And one of the lies that they like to tell you is, hey man, I'll make you an E3, or I'll bump you up an extra rank if you sign a 6-year contract. And to my knowledge, most military branches, you automatically make E3 after 6 months of being in that branch. So you don't need to sign a 6-year contract to actually be able to achieve that. So don't fall for that lie either. So unless you're doing some special forces job, and we'll talk about that later, but you really have to sign a 6-year contract because of some special rule or bonus that you're getting, then obviously if you got to sign the contract, you got to sign it. But most cases, you do not need to sign a 6-year contract. You can do a 4-year contract. You can even do 3 or 2-year contracts now. Some branches offer that. That is definitely the first biggest lesson here. And I'm telling you, don't be like me and sign a 6-year contract, because it sucks. Which leads me to the second biggest lie, and that is recruiters that over or under promise bonuses. So whenever I joined back in 2020, I don't know if I can say that word on YouTube, but we all know what was going on in 2020. And most of the military branches were giving out, let's just call it disease bonuses. Okay, we all know what word I want to say. But all of those branches were giving out bonuses. And I didn't get a bonus. My recruiter was like, sorry, buddy, it's too late. Yeah, it's never too late, okay? So I missed out on like a $15,000 bonus. And so another example is my little brother's actually about to join the military too. And one of the recruiters told him that he'd be able to give him a $50,000 bonus. And then my little brother did some research and figured out that was a complete lie. Never get under promise on a bonus. Like, do not join the military, at least right now in this day and age, without a bonus, because every branch is offering crazy bonuses. For example, the branch I'm in is offering a $80,000 bonus right now if you join and become a cook. And you can literally just do a 4-year contract, which is absolutely insane. So don't join the military without at least getting a bonus. And also don't join the military by going off of a lie. You need to see it on writing, okay? If your recruiter is telling you that he can get you a certain type of bonus, tell that bad boy, say, hey, I want this on paper. I want to see this. I want it to be official. Don't do no handshake deal, nothing like that. Make sure that it is in writing. The next thing is getting sold on a job that you don't actually want to do. And I actually called my buddy and asked him about this. I have a friend in the military that does stuff on the recruiting side, so getting a little bit of behind the curtain look. And he just essentially told me, I'm looking at my notes here, he told me that whenever a recruiter tells you, hey, Timmy, this job isn't available, that's not actually true. They can get you that job in the military, but the thing you have to remember is recruiters have quotas, okay? You know how sales guys need to make a certain amount of sales every year? Well, recruiters are the exact same. They need to recruit a certain amount of people every quarter or every month. And so if a recruiter, and this is typically a thing in bigger branches like Army, Navy, Marine Corps, where they kind of say, hey, this job that you want, it's not available, but this crappy job is. Because you got to think about it. The crappy jobs, they need people really bad, so they're able to ship you off really quickly to meet quota. But the good jobs, everybody wants them, and so you have to wait a little bit longer to enlist to be able to get that job. But it is always worth the wait, okay? Picking a job in the military, picking the right job, it will be mostly, besides leadership, it will be one of the biggest outcomes of your experience being inside of the military. If you get a good job, you could do 20 years and love your life. You get a bad job, every year of your 4-year contract will be miserable. And so, yeah, don't fall for that lie whenever a recruiter's like, hey, sorry, buddy, this job's not available. It's not true. He just needs to do the legwork, and you may just have to wait a little bit longer, which is a parlay into the next thing, and that is getting, getting gaslit into a job that you don't actually want to do. So I have 2 stories on this. Whenever I first joined the branch that I'm in, I knew what I wanted to do, and I had a lot of people come to me and sell me on this one job. It was being a swimmer, and I didn't grow up as a swimmer, but everyone that sold me on this was like, hey man, you're gonna hate your life, everything's gonna suck if you don't sign up to be a swimmer. And I was, in my head, I was like, well, I don't really want to be a swimmer, but I mean, they're telling me I'm gonna hate my life, so maybe I should. And so I ended up signing to become a swimmer, and I hated every single second of it. And so I know my other buddy who kind of got talked into doing a special forces job, and he didn't necessarily want to do that, and he joined the military, went through boot camp, and then he was like, oh gosh, I don't want to do a special forces job. And that just happens to a lot of people, whether it's your parents trying to talk you into doing this high-speed job, whether it's yourself gaslighting yourself into something, you know, watching some Lone Survivor, or maybe it's just your recruiter trying to gaslight you into doing their job. You know, I had a recruiter that had a certain job in the military, and he would try to gaslight me into doing his specific job, because obviously not all recruiters, but some recruiters are going to be a little biased about being like, hey, my job is the best job and you should do it. Don't listen to that. Do your own research. Genuinely think about what you want to be doing and say, hey, if I do this in the military, would I potentially want to do this in the civilian world too? Because then you can use it as a resume and experience builder. So definitely think about that whenever joining. And the last thing is being told that the military owns you. The military does not own you until you graduate boot camp. And so what I mean by this is whenever I was in high school, joining at 18 years old, I had some second thoughts. I started having some success on social media, and I was kind of like, man, I wish I wasn't joining the military. And I remember my dad looking at me and going, sorry, man, you already signed the contract. And that is not true at all. Obviously, the further that you go into the recruiting pipeline, it's going to be a little bit harder. Not harder, but there's going to be a lot more paperwork involved to getting out. Like, if you go ship off the boot camp, and then in boot camp you go, this isn't the job for me. Well, it's going to be a process to get you out of there. But if you're, like, in the recruiting period and you're just talking to your recruiter and stuff like that, if you sign a piece of paper, you can leave. No one's going to come arrest you. No one's going to do anything. Your recruiter, depending on the branch, might harass you a little bit to try to convince you to come in because they have a quota to meet, depending on the branch. But they do not own you until you graduate boot camp. And so, yeah, honestly, I wish I would have known that once again. And that's kind of the whole point in this video, is so that you all know stuff that I didn't know, and you know, hopefully I can save all of you from the mistakes that I made. But if you want to see any more videos that have to do with questions that people may have about joining the military or pre-military stuff, or if you're in the military and you have a question, make sure to drop it down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video this far, and make sure to subscribe.